Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. Before I begin, I want to first give a shout out to all my Svengoolie fans out there in Berwyn. For those of you who are still watching his grade B and C movies and his commentary, I'm a fan as well. Anyway, starting off, it's interesting to think that health is our natural state of being. And when something goes wrong, everything in our metabolism does its own homeostatic, self adjusting, self monitoring, self regulating. And even when you have some condition wrong, there's other things going on in your body that are still working perfectly, miraculously, to keep you going as best as you can during times of crises or various conditions that arise. Now, whether or not there's such a one-to-one correspondence where we say every illness is a direct response to the vibration that we're giving out, and it's like interactive, you also wonder, why would I need, whether it's a toothache or a stomach ache or cancer? What's the vibration I'm putting out? This is one of the hardest knots to untangle in the affirmation process here. But start off with something simple, the path of least resistance. You know by the feel of it, yum or yuck. You pull back from the stuff that's yucky and you go towards the stuff that's yummy. The idea, of course, is not to just keep talking about the subject, complaining, pining, mumping, because you're not going to change anything by trying to justify where you are. That just escalates the resistance to the whole thing instead of allowing for well-being to come in. So don't plead your case, don't beg. You're not going to get the law of attraction to hand over the goods that way. So just think of life as a buffet where you get to choose what you want and you don't take what you don't want. So once you decide that feeling good matters, releasing resistance to that becomes much, much easier. So all of us are building our own monument, our own legacy to well-being. How are you doing yours? All right, today I want to talk about the 5 languages of love, one of my favorite topics. I always say relationship is the yoga of the West, and there's value in choosing to be with another person. And whether you get married and make a public statement or not, or that's not a commitment that you want to make, but you're not going to be afraid of any negative judgments that arise within yourself, or if they're coming from somebody else, you don't buy into it. So the 5 languages of love are quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts, and physical touch. Now, the interesting thing is you don't do all these 5 in the same proportion. It's not like 20% each. And each person has a different way of experiencing love or giving love. And their love tanks may not be filled by the same way that you feel it's easy for you to give love. If somebody wants words of affirmation, but you do acts of service, you have to realize you'll be waiting a long time for them to say they love you, but they show you they love you. Or if you're working for the family all the time, but you don't realize you're not spending quality time with the person, even though you think it's a selfless act of service for them, you're missing the thing that the other person would think would be important, which is quality time, face time together. So I'm a believer that 2 people, let's start with that dyad, you don't give your life over to the Uber culture, but you remain true to your own inner guiding star. You accept the fact no one is born to live a normal life. Everyone has eccentricity. Accepting each other's peculiarities is so important. Everybody has a corner knocked off. Nobody's square. And so you have to release the other person from the servitude of you putting on them how you want them to be. I say marriage is an alchemical crucible, not a cakewalk in the open field. It tries you by fire and burns away all the dross to reveal the gold that's within. It may seem to be hidden, but love's purifying force ultimately destroys everything unlike itself. So watch when the times come where you judge the other person, it seems to distance you from them. But remember, you don't surrender just to the person's personality, you surrender to the relationship. And so once you understand that the purpose of marriage is not just to be happy, but to be transformed, then seek what you love about the other person. Don't flee what you dread. Don't flee what you dread. And the ultimate sage advice is remember to be patient, to be kind, to keep laughing. A facelift starts with a good belly laugh. And laughter is the fountain of youth, so never go to bed angry. Communicate with each other. If the issue is important enough to adversely affect your relationship, deal with it. If it's not, forget about it. Trust one another. And as we were told on our wedding day, what's the secret to longevity? Well, when problems arise, always ask the question, what can we do about it first? And then you know you have your head screwed on straight and your heart open.